This podcast is scheduled for one fall.
Whoa, who let you out of the basement? Let me do this. This podcast is scheduled for one fall, and I'm still not reading any of this other crap you wrote, so just click your buttons and start the show.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Gimmick Table. Happy to have you here with us today. I'm your host Matt, and we cannot forget about my co-host, for he is the inspiration to the hashtag SuperKickAHippie movement. He is the Rocky to my Mickey. He is Bats. How goes it today?
Why are we kicking hippies?
Well, we're not kicking every hippie. Actually, the hashtag SuperKickAHippie movement is basically this. I want everybody out there listening, if you by chance happen to see my host out and about, walking around, I want you to super kick them, take a photo of it, tweet it with the hashtag.
Wait, no.
Yes.
If I get kicked, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Now, he wasn't aware of this until just now. He's getting a little angry at the microphone. But yeah, do it. Hashtag SuperKickAHippie. We'll send you a prize.
Oh, I'm warning you all. I'm a scrappy motherfucker, and I will fight dirty. I don't give a fuck, and I might have a knife on me.
He doesn't have a knife, people.
I might.
More important,
I might now.
All right, guys, in just a few moments, we're going to be sitting down with Sean Carr. He's returning to the show, and we got a special topic today as we sit down and discuss Binghamton's own 607 Strong Academy. But before we get to that, we just once again want to preach how important it is that you get on iTunes, you subscribe to the show, and if iTunes isn't your thing and you go the way of the Android, there's 101 different podcasting apps out there, and you can find us on all of them.
Yeah, there's one called Potable.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard of it, but they hit us up on Twitter, and so I really need some listens on that app, I guess.
Yeah, help us out there. I got to register for the contest. Apparently, we can win like $500 in podcasting gear, so that'd be really cool. Or maybe they'll just give us $500 and we can give you guys.
Or maybe they'll just give us $5. That would be great.
Desperate times call for desperate measures in your life, doesn't it?
How much money we making here?
Yeah, we don't talk finances, all right? We're not in the hole. That's all that matters.
Fair enough.
All right? The line is not red.
Look, if you guys want me to be getting drunk, I need money for beer. That's all I'm saying.
Stop letting him get drunk. Okay, we got a show to do. Let's get to it. And then like we just said, normally when you listen to the Gimmick Table, we talk about somebody coming up through wrestling, what it's like. But today we have a really special opportunity to talk about where all wrestling begins, and that's at the school. So we're going to be sitting down here talking about Binghamton's own, like we said, 607 Strong Academy. So welcome back to the show, Sean Carr. How goes it today, Sean?
It's going great, guys. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Weather in Binghamton a little nicer than it's usually. We're having a little bit of a heat wave, so next week we're going to have a blizzard.
Yeah, go figure, right? It's usually how it always works out. We get hit with giant, a lot of snow, then we get, a nice little warm heat wave, and then boom, right back to snow.
It's one of the oddest places in the world, I swear.
It really is.
Between the people, and I'm not saying they're bad people, they're eccentric in a way that only you can find in Binghamton.
I agree, 100%.
Now, today we're talking about, like I said, 607 Strong Academy. So really, if you could just give our listeners kind of a basis of what the school is all about and what's going on there.
Well, pretty much for the last, we're actually coming up on 2 years straight that we've had the school in operation. We were at the Nipon Trade Center. Things didn't really work out there like as we hoped, but now we're at the American Legion Post 80, 76 Main Street, Binghamton, New York. The exact same spot as where all the Xcite Wrestling and pretty much any independent wrestling that has come through Binghamton. Pretty much where all those shows have been at. And I'm the head trainer. Once in a while, we'll have Axel Lennox, whose real name is Vince Talbot. If I can't make it, he'll be able to teach class. And pretty much what we do there is we just run, a wrestling school. It was something I wish I had when I first started, in the business. And what we do there is we teach all the fundamentals and, try to put you, in the best position possible to have a successful career in professional wrestling.
Now, is that like daily, weekly?
We try to train 2 to 3 times a week. Those kind of vary. The days that we're pretty much always there is Wednesdays at 6 p.m. We normally go to about 7, and then Sundays are like the day that everyone makes it, and those are at noon. And they normally go to about 3, sometimes 4 o'clock. It depends on the size of class and, how eager everyone is to get in there and mix it up. And yeah, we've been having great classes. I probably have about between 20 and 25 students, so things are going pretty well with it.
Nice. Now, you guys all train, like weight training and everything too, I assume, so you'd meet up at like Planet Fitness or anything on those off days?
The thing that what I at least try to do when I have the students, there's some of them who, they're not really into the gym scene yet. Some are. So what we do is we try to do a lot of conditioning drills. But I always encourage everybody, who comes in, if you want to be in the business, you got to be in shape, and I mean, you got to be a larger-than-life character. And pro wrestling, in my opinion, is one of the most physical, demanding, grueling activities / sports that you will ever probably do in your life. It's no joke. There's ex-NFL dudes, who try to make a career out of pro wrestling, and they can't hang because it's that tough. It's that physically demanding. So I always try to encourage our guys, and a lot of them are doing it, and they're just beginning their, gym life, I guess you want to say. But yeah, at least while we're at class, we always try to at least get, a basic little workout, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, running, suicide drills, pretty much it's pretty much like a football practice almost. It's kind of running away.
Yeah, Bat, so you wouldn't cut it there, okay?
No.
We could make a YouTube series out of that, though, him trying to go at least through like a day of it.
Yeah, if I put my mind to it, I will get there.
I don't think so. I take money on that, though.
I'll be the one putting you through the table.
Not going to happen. No. So now you're the head trainer there. So what kind of responsibility and accountability do you put on yourself in that role?
I take that as serious as anything else. I look at it as a lot of these guys, and we have one girl, when they eventually get to the point where they're ready to go out and get bookings, 2 of my students right now are being contacted, and they're going places and getting booked, and, Ray Ross and Pat Sawyer. And I take a lot of responsibility on that because it's my reputation that I built up over 10 years. If I don't feel somebody's ready, then we got more work to do. And I'm very honest with all of our students. I'm very honest. I give it to them, I don't sugarcoat anything, and I don't put them in any situations that they're not ready for. But with that being said, I make sure I teach them how important respect is in professional wrestling. I mean, and it's important in everyday life too. But I've seen dudes, and girls for that matter, literally, just lose all of their credibility within like 10 minutes. And I try to instill that in our guys and our one girl that, respect is everything. And if you were going to go on in the pro wrestling world and use my name that I trained you, I better not hear anything bad. You know what I mean? Because that's my reputation and that's what I've built up, and I don't want that tarnished. And at the same time, I'm glad that at least my name is helping these guys get on shows and get booked. That's a very cool feeling for me.
Right, knowing that, somebody's they were trained by you, and the promoter's going to look at that and say, okay, I'm going to give you a shot because of Sean's reputation. And if he trained you, I know that hopefully his lessons and, teachings about respect actually got through to you.
Absolutely.
Now, a good thing that you pointed out was obviously you're putting your reputation on the line, and that's something that you have no obligation to do. So why do you train?
I look at it as, I remember when I first was breaking in, and I remember, 2 veteran guys took me under their wing and they helped me. And they, it was like their way of giving back to the business. So I look at it as it's a way for me to give back, 10 years and, being 30 years old, that's pretty much 100 years in wrestling, I'm not saying I'm going to retire or quit anytime soon, but, if I can give back to the pro wrestling business and to, really just kind of make sure that there's another generation in this local Binghamton area wrestling, then, that's why I do it. I do it because I remember when I was in that spot and I needed somebody who had some kind of, anything to help me out. So, and I love it. I love being able to help out dudes, and I love being able to, to make their dreams a reality. That's just, to me, that's one of the most rewarding and coolest things about this.
That's something I've kind of picked up doing these interviews, is that it's not the equipment or the venue that makes the gym, it's the trainer and their motivation.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. And with me, at first, I won't lie, I was pretty nervous about training people and having that responsibility. But, I always sit there and I always think, man, there'd be times where I'm coming back from a show or something and I'd be like, man, that one dude, he just does everything so wrong. Or even with how pro wrestling is right now today, there's so many things that I see that I'm just like, you know what I mean? And you could tell that guy wasn't trained right. Well, now I have the opportunity to at least, with people who come into our school, to make sure that they're trained the way I was, to go at it with an old school mentality, to learn the art form pro wrestling. Not just going out there and whoever can do the most flips or dives or, I love to teach somebody how to tell a story in the ring. That to me is one of my favorite things in the world. And, to be able to, kind of, train people the right way, at least in my eyes, that's another reason why I do it. At least I'd like to think, all of our guys, and girl, they're getting it and they're understanding it and they're applying it. And that means a lot. My hard work isn't going, untaught or anything.
No, you can definitely tell from what I've been able to observe that everybody in the community around here seems to kind of almost look up to you and want your advice and gravitate towards you. Yeah,
and that's something that's really, for me, it's, really cool. When it comes to this area, no one else, I would say with the exception of maybe Cage, Charles Seeley, but, nobody really has, been to the places that I've been or been put in the, the spots that I've been put in. So to be able to be the one guy around this area where people go to for advice and, I kind of think about it as, kind of like that, local locker room leader, you know what I mean? And, like I said, I love helping out. I love when people pick my brain and, I'm able to pass along what, so many have taught me. That means a lot to me. When I started out to be a professional wrestler, the only thing I really wanted out of all of this was to at least be respected. And for so many people to actually, value my opinion and value, what I've done is really cool. And, it's just super cool and surreal at the same time.
And it just shows that, it's not, to you, it's not about just having people to train so you can say that, I'm training people, but you really care and want them to grow and do it the right way. Because nowadays it seems like from a lot of our interviews, we've learned that there are a lot of schools out there that unfortunately aren't doing things the right way.
Yeah, there's so many schools out there that I know of and that I've seen that it's either just a money grab or it's a promoter who is looking at a bunch of backyard dudes and, they could sell me tickets and I don't have to pay them. A lot of scammers are in this world, and especially in pro wrestling. So, that's why I take it very, very serious. And it's funny because Pat and Ray, before they started with me, the same thing was happening to them out there in Towanda with a guy who wasn't training him and he wasn't giving them the proper, what they needed to become successful in professional wrestling. This guy, he never did anything. He never went anywhere. He claims that he did, but, now, they're so hands-on. And Ray's pretty busy with school right now, but Pat's building a schedule up, and I know that when Ray's done with school, he'll have a schedule himself. And, it's cool for me to see that. And, I'm glad I was able to take them out of that situation and then, put them, guide them and take them under my wing, and then just watching them excel. It's like watching your kids, graduate high school and go into college. It's a really cool feeling.
Kind of going with that, we kind of talked about some of the bad experience, people trying to take advantage of students. But just to go on a little lighter side, what are some of the good experiences from the schools? Some
really cool things for me would be, we have a student, his name is Grizz. When he first started training with us, he was, really out of shape and overweight, and he's really taken training so serious, and he's applied it, and he's doing everything and is outside of training. He's eating right. He's lost so much weight, and see how just motivated he is to get better. Really, it inspires me, because I'm like, man, this is a cool feeling. When we're at training and whenever somebody's doubting themselves and they can't do something or whatever, the coolest thing for us is when somebody actually when they've tried and they haven't got it, and then they finally get it. We all just around the ring are just applauding them, banging the mat, and it's such a positive atmosphere, and it really just brings everybody up. And then they just go and they do it 100 times perfectly, whereas before that moment, they couldn't get it right and they were doubting themselves and they're getting frustrated. I'm blessed because I really have a great core of guys and a girl, and they help each other. It's almost as like it's a team. I mean, they all come, they all show up, they train hard, and and they encourage each other, and they will work really hard. And that, to me, that's inspiring, and it's definitely an awesome atmosphere to be around.
Watching you guys there, it does feel like a very even family oriented. When you guys are running the drills, somebody does something, you're clapping, everybody's motivating. It's cool that even somebody that's been in pro wrestling as long as you can still be motivated by somebody who's relatively new, and seeing how hard they're trying, that it inspires you to try even harder.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, just because I've been in their situations. I know what it's like to just first break in, and you just want to train and you want to get better. And when I see the fire in all their eyes, it really just like, okay, yeah. Like if I ever doubt myself, if I'm ever like kind of feeling down about me and the career, in wrestling, there's a term, you gotta love wrestling even when it doesn't love you. They don't know it. I mean, I'm sure they'll know it now when they listen to this, but, they inspire me, and they bring me up, and it's just, like you said, it's like a family, and that's what pro wrestling is, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we call each other brother or sister. We're in the pro wrestling family, just like with the school, the Xcite Wrestling family, the, 6 or 7 strong family. Like you said, man, the atmosphere, it's what keeps you going.
At the last class, I think it was before you showed up, Moose touched base on something, basically saying that no matter what's going on in your life, be here, because it's a place to get away, take your frustrations out, and it's almost like therapy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely the case, because, I mean, we have a couple dudes, who having a rough patch at life. And, when they come into training, you could tell that they just tune all that out and they escape in pro wrestling. And that's, I've done the same thing, and, it's a great way to kind of also, I guess, change your situation around, as weird as that may sound.
Oh, exactly. It gives you a way to kind of get everything out, so you don't sometimes do something that might be irrational. You can kind of vent it in a different way that isn't destructive. I mean, you're throwing somebody around from time to time, but it's all in good fun.
Couldn't agree with you more.
There's far worse avenues you could take than
right. Some people do like music, some people do art. Like there's always a creative outlet or some type of outlet you need. And I mean,
absolutely,
this is one where you get to beat people up.
About that whole family atmosphere, I think that it's important to kind of show that you guys have that, to anybody who's listening who might be interested in becoming a professional wrestler, because I have to feel that walking through those doors for the very first time has to be a very intimidating feeling for anyone.
Oh, sure. Oh, without a doubt. And I mean, that's the cool thing. I mean, with us and all of our, all of our students and trainees and Moose and me, I mean, we're a very welcoming group of human beings, and we take anyone who comes in, I mean, we treat them like they're one of our own. We're not here to intimidate. We're not here to scare away or anything like that. I mean, the whole being a pro wrestler thing isn't working out, then there's a million other things you can do to stay in the business, and we could train you in every single one of those aspects.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to it just from, you, Austin, Moose, you guys have been nothing but awesome to us here at the podcast, and letting us, get involved behind the scenes has been a great experience for us.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely been a fun ride, and we always welcome as many people to join the ride as possible.
As you're kind of going to with what we talked about earlier, there's a reputation for a school. How do you ensure your reputation for the 607 Strong Academy?
I would say that's a good one. It got me thinking on this. I would say, just you look at the people that we have so far, and you look at the people that we have training, and you look at the company that is behind the entire thing. I mean, Xcite Wrestling, alone, bring in some of the top independent pro wrestlers from throughout the entire world, and our guys are wrestling with that. Our guys, me, Pat, Ray, Wayne, who's starting to really make some strides. They're on shows, and they're doing well. And they were in, whoever's listening to this who's thinking about joining, they were in your situation a matter of months ago. Pat and Ray a little longer. They've been at it for a little over a year. But, to see where the first class has been and where they're going, to me, that speaks volumes. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but yeah, I mean, we definitely, we take the time to invest in whoever to make them something in this business. I don't know. I guess I think that would be the best way to answer that question.
Well, yeah, I kind of got to agree, because it's really, it's in the product and what you create. And I mean, in this case, the wrestler is the product, what you train them, what you teach them. What we kind of talked about with respect earlier, and the fact, are they able to grasp it? Are they able to go out there and have good matches? You know, some people can probably do it during training, but it's a whole different story when you actually go out in front of a live audience for the first time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to watch, the guys that we, who, are in their first year right now, to see how far they've come, is really just the coolest thing in the world. Like I said, it's like watching your kids grow up, and like, I won't lie, like I would be nervous. I'm more nervous for them than I am for my own matches. Sometimes, as weird as that is, because I want them to do so well. I want them to succeed. I want them to have the feelings that I've had in this business. I want them to create moments and to create memories, and I want them to do well. And when they do well, I'm one of the very first people, if not the first person to hug them on, when they come through the curtain.
Right, like that's an even different kind of energy you get. Like not just you getting the energy from the crowd, but now you're getting it from like the other wrestlers getting that energy from the crowd. It's just a whole transfer of energy.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to go off topic, do you understand now why I'm trying to start hashtag super kick a hippie?
A little bit, no.
So again, folks, for everybody listening, if you super kick my co-host, take a picture of it, tweet it with that hashtag, you're going to get entered to win a prize.
Perfect.
If it's a different hippie, you're disqualified, because I'm really not looking to go to jail when people start just raining.
You're still going to go to jail if somebody super kicks me in the middle of the street.
Are you really going to press charges on me?
Yeah.
All right. Fine, guys. Still super kick them. I don't care. Kind of talked about reputation and everything. We kind of touched base on what you do in the ring. How do you prepare students for the other aspect of wrestling, which is the promo work and developing that gimmick?
Oh man, I mean, it's funny because that's the other thing about other pro wrestling schools that I don't think they really fully teach, and that's promos. And the coolest thing with us is we have guys like you and Austin, who you're not afraid to set up camera, set up, a nice cool backdrop or, a background, and, one by one, all right, let's do it, promo, And sometimes, I'll throw them a situation, and I'll give them, a way to, kind of just fill in the blanks. But other times I just say, okay, 30 seconds about this, go, or just, okay, promo, let's go right now. And I always tell the guys, wrestling's tough, but finding a character and talking on talking in front of a camera, talking on a microphone, that's a whole different other world. That is hard. That's hard, if not harder, than pro wrestling, than actual wrestling in the ring. And I give a lot of them credit. They're able to stand right there in front of a camera or whatever situation we're in, and they're able to cut promos, and they're not half bad promos. Sometimes, they need a little work. Sometimes, they stop and I fucked up shit, and I'll just tell them, no, keep going, stop. The only one who knows who messed up is you, so just keep going. But yeah, I mean, we have the tools to, not only do the promo, but we could film it and then you can watch it, so you could see what Moose, me, Rob, if he's ever down, or whoever, see what, our critique is and how to fix whatever we feel you need fixing. So it's pretty cool. I wish I had it when I started, because I was just cutting promos in my mirror or in the shower or wherever, driving to work or wherever. So it's cool to be able to, put them in an actual promo setting so they get a feel of what it's like to have a camera in their face and, have somebody say, okay, stand right here. Okay, 30 seconds, go.
Right, like you definitely can't undervalue or even underutilize that. Like that's a huge aspect. And I mean, the only way to get better at that if you're not a natural is to just keep practicing at it.
That's it. And it's funny because the more you do it, I feel, then the more you can come up with a character and, a gimmick and a way of how you're going to talk or a catchphrase or whatever, I mean, we even do a drill when we're traveling to a show where, it's funny, Kevin Kelly taught me this, is, we'll do promos on the way to a show on the road, and, it'll start off with the driver, and then it'll go to the passenger, and then right behind the passenger, and, whoever else is in the car, and we'll just, keep doing promos, and it's almost kind of like rap battles almost in a way, but it helps, and I know I know just by doing that, I mean, it's helped my promos and it's helped Axel Lennox's promos. And when we do that at training, you know, I feel like it puts our students ahead of the curve.
And speaking of Kevin Kelly mentioning that, and you also mentioning Xcite, you know, backing the school, your students did get the opportunity to actually sit on one of his seminars recently. So that's, you know, another thing about the school is you're not only bringing in great independent talent in ring-wise, but also from a commentary and promo perspective with somebody like Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, and you know, the cool thing is after Kevin came up and did the seminar, he pulled me aside. He said, I have a very talented bunch of students, and he actually wants to keep coming up and having his hand in, you know, helping the development of a lot of our students. And he doesn't do that with anybody. I think he only does that really with the Monster Factory. For him to want to come up regularly, you know, at least a couple times a month is very cool. And, you know, that's another added bonus to our school is we have the connections to all the major companies and the major players. And we're able to provide our students with the opportunities that, you know, I never got. I mean, I had to go travel hours and hours and hours away and give the opportunity to myself, whereas we're trying to bring all these opportunities to the school and to the students. You know, it's definitely a very cool thing that we're able to do. Not only with Kevin Kelly, I know I'm trying to work on getting Brutal Bob. If anyone doesn't know who he is, look him up. Brutal Bob has been in the business for damn near 30 years, and he's another one. He wants to come up and he wants to help out and he wants to train our, you know, help train our guys and do seminars and stuff like that. So to be able to provide our students with all this knowledge and all this experience from so many different people is definitely one of the coolest things that, you know, I can help bring to classes.
It's definitely awesome because it seems that, you know, people to school, they're going to get a lot of different perspectives from the pro wrestling world just by being, you know, part of the community that you've built there. And anybody looking to do that, sounds like it's a great place to start.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's been growing and growing and growing, and it's to, you know, I'm very excited. I can't wait to see where we're going to be at in a year from now. You know, I think, you know, we're going to be, you know, even larger than, you know, what we are now student-wise. And I always tell all of our guys, you know, everyone has a goal. You know, every single person in class has a certain goal, a goal that they're working towards. Some of them are, you know, mastering a promo. Some of them are getting their bumps down right. Some of them are learning, you know, chain wrestling and, you know, simple as running ropes. Most of them are getting ready for their first matches. And the ones who've already had matches, their goals are, okay, now we got to start thinking about doing some tryouts, whether it be the Ring of Honor tryout seminar camps. Evolve does Ring of Honor, or Evolve does tryout and seminar camps, you know. So my goal is for whenever, you know, you're at that level, when you go to these camps, you're ready, you know, and you're going to get a fair shot. And, you know, my goal is whenever I, you know, train somebody's, my goal is for, you know, everyone in the world to turn heads and look at you and be like, wow, where have they been? That's my goal for everybody. And it's definitely, you know, I think that we're on the right way, and, you know, I definitely see some of our students within the next few years making a major impact in the Northeast indie scene.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, you got a bunch of guys go to a camp, and, you know, everybody's looking at him and they see one guy do real good and they're like, hey, oh, he's really good. And then a couple more guys from the same crew are wrestling real good too, and they're like, man, where did all these guys come from? Who is teaching them how to do this?
And it all goes back to, you know, what you guys are doing at the school, what you're trying to teach. But obviously with students, nobody develops at the same pace. Students come in with different, you know, levels of experience already. How do you make a class where somebody, you know, who may be relatively green opposed to somebody who has a few years of experience under their belt, how do you make it so both can grow during the class?
That's the one thing that's kind of that when we were at the night pen, we were kind of having problems with, because we did have some people who were way advanced more than others. But now that we have the Legion, we have way more space and way more room. We're actually going to start doing this the next couple weeks, is we're going to break dudes off into groups. So we'll have the beginners, we'll have like an intermediate, and then the advanced. And what my goals are for it is, you know, spend a certain amount of time. Group A, we'll say, will be in the ring, working out whatever they need to work out on. Group B, you know, I want to have them keep moving and doing calisthenics on, you know, because we have so much more space, we're able to do so much more. You know, we're going to be able to, you know, have them, that'll be like the workout part of, you know, of class. And then whoever Group C is, you know, we'll be doing promo promos, and working with whoever to do promos. And then, whenever the time, is up, then we'll rotate. So then, like, let's say the advanced group was doing promos and they're not going to go in the ring, and now they're going to work on things they need to work on. Whereas, somebody who's just starting, let's say they were in the ring, now they're going to go start doing calisthenics. And then when that time's up, we're going to switch again. And then that group is going to be doing promos, and then, so it gives everyone an even playing field. But also, it's also good to sprinkle in the experienced guys with the not so experienced, because that's a way for them to learn. And it's a way for the experienced guys to be able to work with an inexperienced person, because I always tell everybody there will eventually be a time, and it was told to me, and now I'm at that point, where you're going to have to be able to be the more experienced person. You're going to be the more experienced of a match, and you're going to have to know what to do to make it the best match possible. And if you don't know how to do that, then you're going to have a real tough time. Whereas it's a way to teach the more experienced people, who are doing matches, let's say, it's going to be able to teach them to work with somebody and make them look good, because that's a very important part of wrestling is, and that's to kind of go off on a, side little thing. Too many people only want to get their own stuff in, and they don't care if somebody's not as experienced with them. I take pride in I can work with anybody and I can make it a good match. And too many people don't have that same mentality, and they don't want to work with anybody. And if they feel that you're not up to their level, then, well, why is this guy in the ring with me? I hate that attitude. Brutal Bob posted something the other day, and I really liked it. Of when people say, "Why are you doing that show? That's so beneath you." Yeah, but it allows the opportunity for somebody like me to teach and to bring somebody up so they understand it, so they can get more experience. And all around, it helps the business as a whole. So, but yeah, I mean, going back to the school and to dividing up all the inexperienced levels or whatever, we definitely have I feel we have a good plan on being able to make sure everyone has a fair amount of ring time and promo time and all of that. So,
well, I mean, you definitely touched up on a good point. That's what separates good from great, is being able to make your opponent look really good.
Absolutely.
It's good that the school is kind of touching on everything and that you do have a plan in place. So, because I feel like if somebody was, brand new and they're working with people who are always much, much, much better than them, they might get discouraged very easily and walk away from something that eventually they could be really good at.
True, yeah.
Now, being a trainer, wrestlers early on in their career probably going to make a lot of mistakes in the ring as they grow, and they're going to get discouraged along the way. How do you keep them from getting too down on themselves?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked this, because we're recently dealing with that right now. Pat and Ray, the last show, did a move, and it almost hurt their opponent. They really have been down on themselves since, because there's been a lot of internet talk about it, and there's been a lot of they've been pretty beat up online about it. I had a talk with both of them, and if this ever happens to anyone else, I will have the same talk with them, where there probably isn't a feeling that they've had recently about that situation that I haven't had 100 times over. I always like to be that, that father type where, okay, let's, come here, son, let's have this talk. And, I've experienced a lot in pro wrestling. I've had some really amazing matches, and I've had some not so good matches. I've had some, some stinkers. I like to tell them that it's a part of growing. It's a part of learning. It's part of being able to correct your mistakes, and you'll know for the next time. And I also tell them that if you're beating yourself up, that's a good thing, because that means you care. If you didn't care and you're like, whatever, then I think we would have a way bigger issue than, you getting beat up on yourself. I like to take on that role of trying to talk to them and to try to lead them and, lead them from my own experiences and, things that have happened to me throughout the years. I mean, I told Pat and Ray, I was like, guys, yeah, it was one move, but at least you didn't botch an entire finish of a match like, I was a part of live on main event on an internet pay-per-view, and I was like, that was when I was probably at one of my lowest of lows in the wrestling business, and I think like when they're able to listen to like things that have happened to me and they see where I'm at now, it kind of makes them go, okay, well, let's just get past this, let's put it behind us, and let's just work harder to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And that's where they're at now. And they're both, I know they're both feeling way better. And, if and when it happens again with any of the other students, I feel like I can be there as a pick-me-up because, like I said before, everything that they're feeling, I've felt, and I know what it's like. So, I'm always there, and I'm always, able to talk to them and hopefully try to make them feel better.
And that's good that they have that. Sometimes you got to learn from the lessons of others and the experience of others. And, you could have easily walked away and gave up, but you didn't.
Oh, yeah. Brought up a good point. I mean, being in this business, everyone, when you've been in it a good amount of time, you think, man, I don't know. Is this for me? Maybe I should just quit, what separate the pro wrestlers from it's been fun is, you just got to persevere everything. You got to endure everything, and you just got to keep moving forward. And that's what they're doing now.
And for the record, the internet can suck sometimes. A lot of times.
Oh my God! I mean, sometimes the internet was the greatest and the worst thing that has ever happened to professional wrestling and in entertainment in general. Because everyone has their opinions, and everyone has their thoughts, and everyone likes to give star ratings. And I hate star ratings for matches because who the hell are you to give a star rating? What do you get for? Whoa! I just don't understand the concept of it. Every match is different. There's a different story trying to be told in every match. Not every match is going to go out there and be like the Young Bucks or AJ Styles or anything. Some people, they're not meant to do those kinds of matches, And that just, to me, is just the most ridiculous, silly thing ever is internet. And this has come from somebody who people give high star ratings, and I look at it as, stop. All right, cool, you're reviewing a show, whatever, but, I don't think they realize, how silly rating a match is. It's just the most ridiculous thing in the world, in my opinion.
As long as the crowd has a good time, what's it matter?
That's it. As long as there's people who paid a ticket to be there and they're being entertained, who cares? That's all that matters. As long as the boys are making money and everyone's having fun at a show and they're enjoying themselves, that's all that matters. Not whatever somebody, wants, write online for whatever reason because they don't like a certain style or whatever. It's like, you don't like that style, then don't watch it. You don't got to write an entire post about it. It's ridiculous.
Well,
yeah, Randy, nobody gives a fuck about your opinion.
Well, didn't you know once it goes on the internet, it becomes fact? Once you post it, it's truth. It doesn't matter at that point.
If you read it on the internet, it's got to be true.
It's got to be true.
Touched on this earlier. What kind of the next year you're hoping you're going to really expand. What are some of the goals that you have for 2018 and going forward?
For me, is just to keep having fun. Keep goal. My goals change all the time. I'd still love to have a contract and wrestle, professionally and make a true living off it. I mean, I make money wrestling, but to actually pay every single bill with wrestling would be awesome. But honestly, my goals now are just stay in shape, or to get in better shape, stay healthy, and to just keep taking every opportunity that comes down my way. Hopefully Ring of Honor calls. If not, then, I'm perfectly happy doing what I'm doing. The one thing about life is you just don't know. Anything can happen at any given time. So, I just want to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm able to take any opportunity that comes my way. Those are my goals for 2018.
Awesome. And now if anybody's interested in joining the school, going down there, checking it out, how can they get in contact with you or anybody else?
You can either message Johnny Moose on Facebook, you can message me on Facebook, or we also have a Facebook page of the school. It's called 607 Strong, and you can send that a message. I've had a few people inquire about it. The Facebook page is still in kind of like a rebuilding phase right now, but if you message it, somebody will respond within 24 hours. Or like I said, you can message either Johnny Moose or me on our Facebook pages, add us on Messenger, or Twitter, or whatever. Just hit the message button, and anybody wants to inquire more, you're more than welcome to come down and watch us train. And the first class, is definitely free to see if you want to pursue this or not. And yeah, then if this is something that you want to do, then we'll sit you down. We'll tell you what needs to be done tuition wise, and what needs to be done, with all other aspects, and then we get the ball going.
All right, so anybody listening out there, if you're interested, you know how to get a hold of them.
And Moose is always commenting stuff on Facebook, so I'm sure he'll see something if you throw a message on there.
Oh, absolutely, he will.
Why you got to throw me off when I'm doing good on segues? And is there any advice you'd give, obviously talk about people coming down to the school, any advice you'd give to somebody coming down for the very first time, what they can expect?
Anyone coming down for the first time, pretty much what you can expect is, at first it might seem like, wow, this is insane, this is crazy. Don't get frustrated with yourself, and I tell this to everybody who's starting. When you first learn the wrestling business, you learn how to fall down and take a bump. If you don't get it at first, don't get frustrated, because chances are this is the very first time in your life anybody has asked you to throw your body at the ground. Don't get frustrated. Come in with an open mind. I always welcome any questions that anybody has. It could be anything. I've answered questions of as weird as, how did Cody Rhodes, how does he smell when you wrestled him? Somebody asked that in training one day. I answered it. I was like, he smelled amazing. But yeah, just come down, open attitude, and be ready to work, and be ready to join the crazy family that is Xcite Wrestling and independent wrestling.
Yeah. Now, before we let you go, all right, we have a game, as you may recall.
Okay.
This is a team-oriented game. Goes to probably one of the greatest teams in the history of teams, fictionally.
Quack.
Led by one Emilio Estevez.
Quack.
So go ahead and take it away, Beth.
All right, man. We're doing the Mighty Ducks. So, Mr. Gordon Bombay.
You would be
Sean
Gordon Bombay.
Carr. We're going to get your team of the Mighty Ducks in order here. First off, who's your Charlie Conway?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Who's the leader right now? Who's the motivator? Who's your go-to guy to call these guys up when you need them to do something?
I would probably say Big Pat.
Pat Sawyer. We had him on the show. This is a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, so then the number 3, would that be? That'd be Adam Banks. He's more like the lead scorer. He's actually probably the best player on the team.
That's gonna have to go to Ray.
Oh, also, did we interview everybody in your class?
We have not interviewed the whole Xcite school yet.
All right, so who would you say are the Bash Brothers? Who's that tag team duo that
You just named the tag.
Yeah, that's actually.
The Bash Brothers.
Rebels Without a Cause.
Oh man, trying to think. I'm shifting through. I'm gonna have to say Lincoln Harris, and probably Grizzly are the Smash Brothers.
Averman, the tall goofy guy.
The tall goofy guy. Oh man, that hands down, that's Bad Brad. Hands down, that's Bad Brad.
This one's probably only gonna work for one person, but Julie the Cat.
Julie the Cat? Not gonna go to the girl we got. It's gonna go to Simon Queen.
Oh, little curveball here.
What a swerve.
Oh shit. All right, what about Goldberg? Who's the goalie? Who's the big stopper?
Moose? No. That's probably gonna go to Denny.
Moose would be Mr. Ducksworth.
Yeah.
You super kick him enough. It just makes sense. Boss, you don't get along
Hey,
with.
it does.
All right, so final one here. The wild card. Who's got the knuckle puck? Ross Tyler.
Oh, man. That would be our new student, Brent. He has that mean knuckle puck.
That's fitting. He's the new guy to the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet, that worked out.
Yeah, that went better than I thought. Everybody else would be like, "What? We're not part of your team." No, we can't.
No, I just couldn't come up with any more characters.
We're not going through all 3 movies of the Mighty Ducks to find every obscure character that was on it.
Who was the Iceland team? Who was the characters from the Iceland team?
All right, well, Sean, thank you for joining us today. That was a great time. A lot of information about you as a trainer, the school. And we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's a very informative episode for anybody thinking of getting into this.
Well, thank you guys very much. Thank you for the time, and thank you for me being able to plug the school. And anybody who wants to join, like I said, message me, message Moose, and we'll see you whenever we see you.
And hopefully we see you too sometimes, hopefully on the Twitch stream.
You're a terrible salesman.
That's why I don't do that for work.
Bats, what a fantastic interview today with Sean Carr talking about Binghamton's own 607 Strong Academy.
Yeah, that was great, man.
And it was a wealth of knowledge. Great opportunity to sit down with him, talk about the school, what you can expect from the school, how he is as a trainer. And really, what we learned from this is the motivations behind this school, they're the right ones. They're there for the right reasons. They're not doing it there to take your money. They're not doing it there so they look good. They're doing it so you're learning professional wrestling the correct way. You're learning to be respectful, and hopefully you can make a career out of something that you actually love.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. You don't love anything, Bet, so you wouldn't know anything about that, guys. But if you love this show, here's a call to action for you. You can listen to all our interviews, past, present, whatever it is, on all major platforms, like we mentioned earlier on the shows, especially that iTunes. Don't forget about that iTunes. We're also on Stitcher, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. We love to interact with all our fans on social media. You can find us on Twitter at @gimmick_table. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search the Gimmick Table Wrestling Podcast. And do not forget about gimmicktablepod.com. That is our hub, I guess you would say. It's where you can find all things Gimmick Table related, including all our interviews, obviously, cover art, merchandise, and much, much more. We have friends out there. It's true. We've said this before. We know you still don't believe us. Check out all our friends out there in the podcasting world order. We got WNA Podcast, Wretch Wrestling, Smart Spot Podcast, Raw is Bore, and the Brocast, all the way from Australia.
Mate.
All the way from Australia, mate. And you want to check them out. They're funny guys, giving a lot of opinions on things from wrestling, pop culture, anything out there. And they get the Gimmick Table thumbs up of approval.
Yeah, I mean, you can only listen to us about an hour a week, but you can listen to them for more hours a week. It's a little inferior to us, but it's okay. You enjoy them as well.
Right, we're peer, they're cut, you know.
They're an extension of us.
Right. Yeah.
There we go.
They're kind of like our students, you know. We're teaching them the ways. That's what it's like, you know.
Yeah, they're gonna love it.
Oh yeah, they're gonna love us for this. All right, guys. Well, before we have no friends, we're gonna call it a day. Thank you once again for listening. Thank you to Sean Carr. We hope you have a wonderful week.
See ya.